What's up, everybody? I'm Cronocyde, and welcome to episode 7 of CronoCast, a PlayStation podcast. CronoCast is a PlayStation exclusive podcast where I talk with my co-host Yemi the Ferret, aka Yemi, about all things PlayStation. Yemi, how are you, dude?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm once again a little bit tired. I'm like struggling with the cold right now. I'm feeling down a little bit at the beginning of the week. Feeling a little bit better, but
Oh, good.
yeah. Temperature here is like 30 one day and like 10 the next day. It's crazy, man. Quebec is crazy like that. Snow is coming too.
It's a cool fall type weather here this past few days, so it's been nice.
Yeah, you have snow too?
We will once winter hits.
Okay, that's cool. Have you played any games this weekend?
I'll tell you what, I threw Guitar Hero Live into my PlayStation this weekend,
Crazy.
and it's a beautiful game, and I wish it was still being supported.
Yeah, for sure. I played a little bit of. We talked about Assassin's Creed Black Flag last podcast.
Mhm.
I started this game. Pretty good. Pretty standard stuff. I played a little bit of Rise of the Tomb Raider too to catch up with the story, and of course I clean up all the map in Spider-Man before the live stream, the next live stream, all the side quests. Pretty cool game. Pretty repetitive too.
There's some repetition in there.
Yep, for sure. We have a great show for you guys this week. We're gonna talk about the news of the week. We're gonna talk about the new games. The topic of the show, you already saw the thumbnail, probably will be about PlayStation Classic. But first of all, let's jump into the news right away with the PlayStation Plus free games for October. So you saw this just before the podcast, Yemi. What do you think of the games?
I haven't played either one. Friday the 13th I know was a buggy mess when it came out, so hopefully they've fixed it. But I think it was a cool concept. And for Laser League, it looks cool, but we might, and hey, we might have another Rocket League situation where the free game is going to be a breakout hit. But who knows?
Yep, and it's Roll 7, a really talented studios for sure, but they are usually makes small games like Oli Oli and Not a Hero, both great games. I love Oli Oli, but this is next step for them, so I'm pretty excited to see exactly how it plays and stuff like that. I don't know much about Laser League. First time I heard about this too.
I loved Ali Ali. Those are great games.
Yeah, for sure. Great arcade games. So it's a little bit different. It's not pixel arts. It's more like a mature game for them. Going a little bit like Uncharted Golden Abyss versus Days Gone. Yeah, it's their next step. We'll see. And on PlayStation 3, you get Master Reboot, The Bridge, which is playable on PS4 and PS Vita. Rocket Birds 2 Evolution. The first Rocket Bird, I'm not sure if you played this. This is your type of game, honestly. The first game was pretty good. I was surprised by the first game. You play this?
I haven't played the second one, but I played the first one, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, that was a great platformer game for sure. So I'm gonna play this. Once again, it's on PS Vita, but it's cross-buy with PS4. And 2064 read-only memories on PS Vita. Once again, you can play on your PS4. It seems like visual novel, I think. Not sure about this one. Not a huge fan of visual novel. I played some good one, but yeah, this is a pretty varied selection of games, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. You got two multiplayer games. One of them is more of a strategy type, and one of them is more of a kick people in the face and push them to the ground and kill them.
Yep, I think this is the new trend, like throwing a little bit dead multiplayer games into PlayStation Plus to keep the people interested, like Dead by Daylight and stuff like that. So I guess it's not too bad. It's not really for me this month, though. I won't play either of them. Maybe I'll try Laser League, but Friday the 13th, I'm not interested in those types of games, so we'll see.
Yeah, it definitely draws a certain type of crowd. Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th are practically the same game. I think Friday the 13th has a little bit more in the ways of, you build traps and stuff like that as the person running away from Jason. but I can definitely see why it's not like a very popular. I remember seeing tons of articles about how broken it was. Of course, everyone on PSN profiles talking about how awful the trophy drops are because
Yeah,
they weren't
man.
unlocking. So hopefully they fixed everything. I mean, they're releasing it for free, so they got one chance with me. I'm gonna download it and I'm gonna play it, and hopefully I get a good experience out of it.
Yep.
Laser League, I'll play. It's probably gonna be one of those one of those games where you play it a few times and you're like, well, that was fun. But Red Dead Redemption 2 is out, so I'm gonna walk over there.
Yeah, for sure. And Friday the 13th, you're right, was totally broken at launch. But the developer, it's a pretty small developers. I think like at the beginning there was only like 10 or 13 people working on the game. So they admitted that the game was broken, but I think they fixed it. We'll see. We'll see.
I really wish they had a stronger first, single player game in the lineup this time around, but I'll take it.
There's
It's
a
not
single
bad.
player game in there?
Not for PlayStation.
No. Okay. This is what I thought too. I was gonna say, Yemi, you're wrong on this one, dude. I was
But I'm
waiting,
not.
man. All right, so the next news, it's Devil May Cry 5 as a multiplayer and microtransactions. So we talked a little bit about microtransaction in the last podcast. The question came from PermaFox on PSN Profiles. We are not against microtransaction. You correct me if I'm wrong. We are not against microtransaction when it doesn't affect the story or affects like the ranking on stuff like that. But not
If it doesn't give you an edge, like if you can't, like in Star Wars Battlefront, those loot boxes would give you an edge in the multiplayer. But in games like Call of Duty, it gives you an XP boost, maybe it gives you a new skin, maybe something like that. So I'm okay with more cosmetic stuff, because it's a give and take. You can, if you want to, you can do it. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And I know that's a weak argument to a lot of people, but I mean, we're gonna get microtransactions no matter what. It's better that there's something you don't have to get though.
Yep, exactly. And DMC doesn't fall into that category, unfortunately. It's not anything of that story is not confirmed yet, but you could buy red orbs, which are normally in Devil May Cry series. Orbs are used to purchase upgrades to weapons and stuff like that. So if this is the case that you can purchase on the PS Store orbs instead of probably grinding them, this is totally wrong, man.
Yeah, I against that.
Yep, exactly. So there's a huge backlash in that news, like all the comments are negative and stuff like that. Maybe they'll backtrack. They should have seen that coming too. Not
I
sure
know,
what they're
really.
doing.
I like the multiplayer aspect though. I would like to play with 2 to 3 people. I think that'd be kind of fun to play Devil May Cry with multiple people.
Yeah, for sure. Multiplayer, I'm not against that. Never. But microtransaction, like for grinding upgrades to weapon. But maybe the microtransaction are only for the online portion of the game and not single player.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make a little bit more sense. But still, if like you put $200 into the game, you're like top tier player already without playing. That's kind of wrong, man.
I agree.
Next one. Okay, this one was really surprising to me. I feel like this is PlayStation Vita once again. PlayStation Classic will support smartphone AC USB adapters. Will not support other PS peripherals. Is that the
Peripherals.
right pronunciation there?
Close.
Okay.
Peripherals.
Peripherals. All right.
Yeah.
You see, I'm learning at the same time, man.
Good.
So basically the big news for the PlayStation Classic, more details have emerged from online, and there's no AC adapter. There's nothing to plug into the wall. Basically what you get into the box is a USB to mini USB adapter, so you could like plug it into your computer or something like that, but there's no power.
So weird.
Yeah, man. I'm not sure what they're doing exactly. So they defend themselves saying that like everybody have a cell phone, and the thing that you plug into the wall with the USB, the USB plug. Basically, everybody have that, but it's not included into the box. Is that correct?
Yep, that's what it says. Everyone has a handful of iPhone wall chargers. Okay, let me tell you one thing. I don't own an iPhone. Two,
Yeah.
I don't have a wall charger.
You don't have a wall charger?
No, my phone came with it was a charger plugged into a power, a regular plug.
Okay, so there's no like USB thing in there.
No.
Okay, I have tons of them. Honestly, it's not a problem for me, but it's kind of weird that like 20 cents. It's not expensive to put in the box. They're already charging $100 for the console, which is expensive.
Mm-hmm. And then not to throw in a stinky cable. Come on.
Yeah, man. Exactly. And Sony have a lot of them laying around in their warehouses.
Yeah,
Why
sure.
don't you put them, man, into the box?
Right. Yeah.
This is weird. It's worth noting that the Nintendo 3DS and 3DS XL didn't come bundled with one too, and Nintendo charged like something like $20 separately to buy them. So it's not the first time, but pretty shady. I'm not sure, man. I was on the edge of buying it, but now it's like, come on, man.
It's gonna be a wait and see kind of thing for me still. We'll see what games are on there, and if it's worth it, we'll go for it. But if not, sayonara.
And also, you cannot use like any the original controllers of PS1 controllers, and there's no analog stick, which is weird. So
it would have drawn too much power, Cronocyde.
Yeah, that may be it, man.
But
yep.
you know, they could have compensated for that. I mean, they just need to do the Spider-Man mini game.
Yep. I'm not sure what that is, too.
It's the one where you change the power. You have
the little like square.
Yeah. You move
Yeah.
the squares and you move the power. Yeah.
Because I was referring to PS Vita because at launch the memory cards were proprietary, so you could not use like a standard SD card. You had to buy like overpriced memory cards. So they are always fucking up somewhere when they release a new product. PS4 was correct at launch, didn't miss anything. But with their more like B-side consoles and peripheral, I think they are going in the wrong way. All right. I was drinking something. I thought you had something to say, but I guess not.
Oh, no.
So, no big deal. We'll cut that. Probably
Sure.
not. Probably not.
You'll probably forget.
Yeah, exactly.
That's okay. It's a nice moment of just
Silence.
of just you drinking water. It's
It was beautiful, at least, right?
yes.
Okay. Twitch has been blocked in China, so it's not like directly connected to PlayStation, but it's worth noting that Twitch was accepted in China, so it was unblocked in China, but now it's blocked again. Twitch was doing really well in China too, so it's blocked again. Could not. They can't access basically Twitch, but China is really restricted in terms of internet browsing. So I'm not surprised, but once again, they are blocking Twitch and stuff like that. So what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's weird, and I think I understand though, because China is still a country of strict rules and regulations, and anything that comes up on Twitch that isn't within those guidelines, I'm sure someone high up saw and was like, "Well, fuck this." And I guess they're using the country's gaming addiction as an excuse, but I think there's something a little bit deeper here. I think someone somewhere in the population of China said something bad about the Chinese government, and they said, "Oh, we're shutting this down." Blocked.
Yep, that basically it. And the top comment in the comment section is America continues to be the best country in the world.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. America is Canada is included in that. You You
North
realize that?
America. North America is the
Okay, North America. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All
I
right.
mean, we're both pretty much free to do what we please, as long as within the confines of police and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think we got it pretty good.
I'm happy about Canada, man. I would not live anywhere else in the world. Maybe United States, maybe not now too. But yeah, it will not jump into politics. But
No,
yeah, I'm quite happy about living in Canada, man. Free
I'll have to
country.
visit sometime.
Yep. Dragon Quest XI must sell well in the West if future games are to make it overseas, says Square. So it's not the first time that Square says something like that. So they're basically saying that if the franchise doesn't sell well enough in the West, they're just like canceling the series in the West. This is like a bold move by them. I feel like this is not something like they should do publicly. They should like analyze the numbers and like don't say anything else and don't release any games if it's not worth like localizing. So Square is weird sometimes in terms of being upfront with their sales numbers and stuff like that. But I think the game is bombing in America, so maybe that's why. Yep.
Yeah, and I know games can get lost in localization. And then they don't make it over to the American market or the North American market, and people find it really hard to nab them. So hopefully that doesn't happen, because I know a lot of people personally who really enjoyed the Dragon Quest franchise, and they would probably be really amiss to not get the next installment.
Yeah, for sure. And once again, I'm a huge fan of Dragon Quest. I didn't pre-order the game. I feel like this is a game that will drop in price pretty soon. And I don't have time to play JRPG anymore. Well, I want to play them, and I'll still play them, but I don't have the time I had before. And that there's reports that the games only sold 10,000 copies before disappearing the following week. So
Wow.
Yeah, that's not enough for.
That's not good.
Nope. So we'll see the NPD report for September. I'll keep an eye on Dragon Quest XI. I saw a lot of people streaming it too, so I'm not sure about the 10,000 copies. It seems like a small number for a AAA game, but
Well, they probably shouldn't have released it alongside Spider-Man.
yeah, that was a bad spot too. Bad decision, man.
Right.
I didn't thought about it. I didn't think about this, but yeah, you're right. Bad spot.
The same thing happened with that Mad Max game. Everyone was going to the store and getting the
Metal
Phantom
Gear,
Game
right?
5. Yeah, Metal Gear 5
Yeah.
event. And I was at the store and I was getting Mad Max, and I was like, well, I guess I'm getting my copy of Mad Max.
It was not a bad game too.
No, I love Mad Max. It's
yeah.
a great game, but everyone was Phantom Pain. I admit Phantom Pain is a superior game, of course, but it was sold out that day.
A totally
I
different
understand
games
why.
though.
Yeah.
But you don't buy like two new games, pre-order games in the same week. Most people like choose between games.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, yep, same here.
Yep, and Spider-Man was huge, so Dragon Quest should have been pushed maybe beginning of next year, or maybe even in October or just before Christmas. There's a spot for games there, like in the Super Smash, beginning of December. So that may be better for them, but it's only a localization, so the game was already done in Japan. They're only like localizing the game, and so it's not that expensive, I feel like. But if it's not selling, there's no point in bringing it to the West.
Yep, very true.
All right, the next one is sad, and I was kind of sad that the day it was announced. So Telltale games effectively shuttered after enormous layoffs. So, 285 employees lost their job this week. Pretty sad news for all those employees and all the families affected, of course. And all the projects has been like on hiatus or canceled, right?
Yeah.
So Wolf Among Us season 2 was in production, canceled. Stranger Things, which I was really excited. I'm a huge fan of the Stranger Things. Canceled too. And the huge interrogation point there is the Walking Dead's final season. Episode 2 was released this week, if I'm not mistaken. And there was supposed to be episode 3 and 4, so nobody's sure 100% what is gonna happen to this game. But what are your thoughts on this?
Dude, I've been waiting for the Wolf Among Us season 2 since the Wolf Among Us 1 came out and ended, and they fucking cancel it shortly after saying I said this in a tweet. I said you could see this coming from a mile away. I mean, their games, it's like, pick out one thing from a Telltale game that's special about it. Can't really say. All of them follow the same structure. All of them have the same format. Most of them don't get too deep when you into your emotions. And the only series that was really holding Telltale up right now was their stupid Minecraft one and The Walking Dead. And they're still doing that Minecraft one, apparently. And The Walking Dead, they're just going to act I don't know. But it's like, back in the day, I played their old games like the Max and
Matt and Max.
Yeah, Matt and Max. I mean, those games are so different from what they do now. And if they went back to those older style of games, I think that they would see new life. They needed to change something, and unfortunately, they just were like, we're just going to keep the formula the same. And I haven't really played a Telltale game that I've enjoyed since. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's probably since Wolf Among Us. There hasn't been one Telltale game that stands out to me, personally. Borderlands was fine, Guardians of the Galaxy is fine. Batman was insulting to me as a Batman fan, but I could see this coming, and unfortunately, people probably aren't going to agree with me. But I mean, it was bound to happen.
Yep, for sure. A company nowadays cannot sit on their asses and do absolutely nothing. They're just repeating the same formula over and over again. Walking Dead season. The issue there is that Walking Dead season 1 did so well that I think they thought that the formula was working, and they just like Activision, like Guitar Hero, right? Over and over and over again, different story. The story were pretty good most of the time, Walking Dead season 1, Wolf Among Us. I love Tales from the Borderlands too. But once again, you cannot just tell a good story if the game is not running well. It's sad.
They needed their own IPs. And unfortunately, they kept, Telltale was never this is an official Telltale licensed game. It's our own unique story. They always got to piggyback off of something else. And I think that's also what hurt them, because you're spending thousands of dollars getting the rights to these characters and songs and look-alikes that you're probably spending more money than you're gaining, no matter how many copies of the game you sell or how many season passes you sell.
Yep, exactly. And they were not they were releasing episode 1 and 3 months later, 4 months later, episode 2. It wasn't working for them. They were not consistent on the content, and most of the time I didn't buy the season pass because I didn't know if the episode were released in the same year. You know what I mean? So they lost a lot of sales, and after that you lose interest and you just forget about the game and you move on, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So
wait for it to go free on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, there was Telltale. Yeah, Batman was free, right? Walking Dead was free too, I think. And all the first episode were free. Yeah.
And PlayStation Plus, you got pretty much every single one up to Guardians of the Galaxy now has been free on PlayStation Plus.
Yep, exactly. And I had Batman too. I like Batman. I'm not a huge fan like you of Batman, but I haven't even played it because I know what to expect, right? There's no surprise in there. A trophy hunter
like yourself, you're not gonna play through Batman.
Yeah, I'm a trophy hunter, but I prefer having one difficult platinum than 10 easy one, right? This is the type of trophy hunter I am. I'm proud of this, man.
You're calling someone out, I know it.
Yeah. the Black Vulture. You probably won't listen to this anyway, so but I'm calling you out, dude. Trophy ore. So, Yemi, I told you before the podcast started that I wanted you to read a letter from the actor behind Clementine voice, which I've been working as the Clementine characters for years now. So this is a really emotional letter. So I wanted you to read to the fans of the show and the listeners to the show.
Yeah, I think most of the actors that worked for Telltale have a bright future ahead of them. I don't think they're going to be too hard off, especially with the Walking Dead series. But she wrote, I have written and rewritten in my head over 1,000 times things I want to say to express my grief over the closure of Telltale Games. I wanted to speak out yesterday, but my heart was too broken for words. I do want you to know that I have seen and read all of the messages of love sent out to me, and the beautiful souls of TTGs, is that Telltale Games. These messages are proof that there is always a light in the darkest of days, so thank you. I, unfortunately, like most of you, do not have the details on how this all came to be, and I also do not know the fate of the final season of The Walking Dead. To my knowledge, they will release episode 2, and then that will be it. It hurts me that you, the fans, will not get to see Clem's journey through to the end. It hurts me that all of the insanely talented people who made this game won't get to see all their hard work played out, and are instead thrust into having to look for work.
That's a weird sentence right there.
It hurts to know that all of the extremely talented actors who lent voices to this final season won't get to experience the final ending of one of the best damn game titles in the history of games. The bold statement. And it hurts to know that long-awaited titles like a second season of The Wolf Among Us won't be made. Yes, that's true. That was all heavy, so let me end with some lightness. Telltale Games will always be the best narrative, story-driven game company ever. Well, I don't agree with that. Okay. No closing of doors can ever take that away. Because of the Telltale Games, I have met and made some of the very best friends I will have in my life, and that is priceless. I have gotten to work with the most brilliant game devs in the universe, and we have had some great laughs along the way. I will always have those memories, and because of the Telltale Games, I have gotten to give voice to one of the strongest, most iconic, most badass, and most loved characters in the world. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for everything. I love you all. Most sincerely, Melissa, Girl Stinky, Glory Darvner, Trixie Trotter, Toad Jr., Beauty, and Clementine.
Yep. So as you
voiced a lot of different characters.
Yep. As you can see, this is why I wanted you to read the old message, the old tweet. She voiced not only Clementine but a lot of characters. So she was really invested in Telltale Games. So this is a beautiful letter. Actually, I don't agree with like the most narrative stuff, but you can see that she loved what she did on Telltale Games. So props to
a lot
her,
of people
man.
love the work for them, but there was also an ex-CEO who sued them, and a lot of people who were disgruntled about the company. But it's good to see that there was some good in what's happening.
Yep, exactly, and the crunching time in those type of studios. I'm a web developer too. I crunch sometimes, not too much because it's a web site, right? But in games, episodic games like this, I can't believe the crunch time before the release of an episode. It must be awful, man. And this is what you're talking about, probably.
Well, probably the writers are also like pretty stressed too, because they have to write a complete full story that spans over 5 episodes, and they need to flesh it out completely in like 2-hour increments for each episode. It's got to be tough and taxing. They have to know what they want to do throughout the whole thing, and at the rate that Telltale games were released for last year and the last few years, I mean, those guys have been working overtime much more than usual.
Yeah, for sure. And I read online, there's a lot of rumors following a story like this, but I read online that an employee was like the day before all the layoff, the employee was working until 3 a.m. because it was the release of the episode 2 of Walking Dead. And after that, like the next morning, he's off, you know?
Yeah.
So it's surprise, surprise.
I think another thing that Telltale really needed to do was they finally upgraded the graphics to like look better, but for the longest time it wasn't changing. And I think that just kind of goes back to the point of Telltale Games was too stale for too long with the same formula.
Yep, for sure. For sure. And yep, that's pretty much it, man. You need to evolve. You need to think ahead and what the studio is supposed to do in like 5 years from now on. And they all evolve. Like if you Crystal Dynamics or big studios like Naughty Dog, they move from Jack and Daxter to Uncharted to The Last of Us. So they are evolving as a studio, but they didn't find a way to evolve and do something else in terms of gameplay. The story was there. That's the crazy thing. The story was there. The stories were good, but the gameplay never evolved. So that's sad,
Yeah, they
but
pretty much played themselves, and a lot of them, no matter what you chose to do, relatively same outcome would happen in the end anyway. So I think people started catching on to that and going, well,
I
no
want
point in
something
playing
else,
this.
right?
Yeah, they want something to change. They
Yeah.
want to be struck in the face. Well, not literally.
Next segment, it's yours. The Yammy's drop, the Ferret's drop. Is that it? The Ferret's drop. I'm
Yeah, it's
always
the
messing up your segment name, man.
Ferret drop is here. So this week there was a few games that I was really interested in, and to start all off, we have the Cat and the Coup, and this is a game where you play as pretty much you play as multiple cats, but you play as the cat of Dr. Mohammed Mossadegh. He was the first democratically elected prime minister of Iran. You use cats to go through the events of his life by knocking down objects off shelves, scattering papers, scratching him, generally being a cat.
The type
It's
of
a
game, right?
Yeah, well, maybe not my type of game, but I like the art style and the music. It has a very interesting concept going on right now. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's only like $1.99,
Yep,
so
exactly.
it's definitely worth picking up if you like a kind of like a psychedelic kind of game.
Yep.
It looks cool.
Weird.
It looks
Weird.
Well, weird. Yeah, it looks weird. Next up is Creed: Rise to Glory, and this is a PSVR game that's based around the movie that came out a few years ago. I think there's a second one coming out soon, starring ya boy Stallone. So in this game, you follow the ascent of the boxer Adonis Creed, or Adonis Creed.
Adonis,
Said
yeah.
that wrong. And you go toe to toe with the world's top opponents. The graphics look pretty good for a VR game, and it lets you train, fight, and win like a Creed. I'm not sure what that means because I didn't get to see the original movie, but I'm sure I would get it if I did see it.
And this game is bundled too in the new bundles of PlayStation VR.
Yes, it is, which is great. It also has Super Hot in it, so that it's probably better than that other one. But yeah, I think this game looks pretty good for a PlayStation VR game. I mean, the screenshots and gameplay I've seen, the characters look nice and they're a little cartoony, but they also look really cool looking. So I think eventually I'll probably pick this game up. Not right away though, because I'm not a huge boxing fan. Kind of gives me flashbacks of Wii boxing.
Yeah, not the same type, right?
No, it's a little bit more involved, but
Yeah, I
swinging your
understand
arms
what you
around,
mean.
hitting people. It was an interesting thing to do on the Wii. Next up, we have Deployment, and this is a top-down competitive shooter made by the same people who made We Are Dwarves, or We Are the Dwarves. You deploy your troops and get ready for battle. Like I said, it's competitive. I'm not sure really what that means. If they're trying to get a competitive market out there, I'm not sure, but it is multiplayer only. Apparently, after the last great war of Earth, civilization is on the brink of disappearing, but computers are keeping the world running, and you are playing as the new soldiers in a new virtual war. So
Nope.
if that tickles your fancy, you can go ahead and do that. I think competitive games are a no-no for me because I get angry very fast
Oh,
with
really?
those types of games.
I
Counter,
thought you would count, man.
I am pretty calm, but when you're playing competitively, it can get pretty heated.
You should try some Super Mario Maker then.
I had it on the Wii U when I had it. I hope it comes to the Switch because I really like to play that again.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, speaking of competitive games, we have FIFA 19. Just moving right along. Freaky awesome. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
But
move along. I'm not a
yeah,
huge fan of football or soccer, depending on where you live in the world. But I won't play that for sure. But it's there. It's there.
it's here. For people who are fans of FIFA, you got a new one. I think the FIFA games have a better have a better track record. Jeez, if I could talk, than the Madden games, which is saying a lot. But once again, just like Chrono, I've never been a fan of FIFA or played the FIFA games, so that one's for you, FIFA fans, FIFAneers. Next is Freaky Awesome, and this is a roguelike, Binding of Isaac-like game. It's a top-down kind of shooter, not shooter, but a roguelike game. You gain mutations by collecting the remains of your defeated enemies, and I think this looks like a really cool game. Like I said, it's Binding of Isaac-like, so once you die once, the game is over and you have to start over.
Like Dead Cells a little bit.
Yeah, kind of like Dead Cells too. And you can play solo or with friends, which is something that Binding of Isaac does not have.
Nope,
So I
and that's
think
pretty cool concept. This one has been pushed back to October 4.
Really?
Yep, it's crossed out.
Oh,
But it's no big
crossed
deal.
out there.
No big deal.
That's okay.
I'm just calling
Maybe
you
we'll-
out, you know?
Yeah, call me out on my bullshit. Well, we won't have to talk about it next week then.
Yeah, no, it's done.
Hey, what about the Grand Museum VR? Just kidding. We're moving on to Hollow Knight Void Heart Edition. And I was planning on playing this game a little bit today. I have it on computer, but I never got around to it. But Hollow Knight Void Heart Edition is the award-winning action adventure of insects and heroes. You explore twisting caverns, ancient cities, and deadly wastes as you battle tainted creatures and befriend bizarre bugs. It includes the 4 DLC packs that were on release, and it's a classic side-scrolling action game with a modern twist. Forge your own path, evolve powers, equip charms. It has amazing music and over 150 unique enemies and 40 epic bosses. It is a little Souls-like. It's challenging, but I think it's a really, really good game. And I think if you haven't even heard of it, check it out. It could be your new favorite game.
Yeah, for sure. And also, this is a big game with a lot of DLCs. For you guys in the US, it's $15, and for me in Canada, it's $20. But this is not expensive for that type of game. A lot of Hollow Knight fans out there. This is a totally game made for me, so I'm excited about this one. I might buy this one like tonight or maybe tomorrow and live stream or play on my own time. But totally my type of game. Difficult game too. So yep, excited, man. Do it.
Yeah. Next up, we have Life is Strange 2 Episode 1, which was released today, Wednesday, the day we're recording this. It's the long-awaited sequel to Life is Strange.
It's weird that they call it sequel, and it's not even the same characters.
Well, we'll see how it ties in with Life is Strange 1. I'm guessing something's going to tie in with Life is Strange 1. But this game is about 2 brothers, 16 and 19, and they're forced to run away from their home after an extreme incident, and they attempt to conceal a sudden and mysterious power. So that's why I'm asking, does it tie in with Life is Strange 1?
Yeah,
Will we see Max or the blue butterfly in this game?
Yep, okay, I got you.
Next up is Time Spinner, which we talked about a little bit last week.
Yep.
It's a story-driven adventure game inspired by classic 90s platformers. Go on a quest to avenge a slain family using time-bending powers to explore an interconnected world. And it just looks really cool. Looks really neato. Definitely might pick it up this week.
Yep. Once again, totally my type of game, so I might check it out too.
And finally today on the Ferret drop, we have This is the Police 2. It's the sequel to the acclaimed hit. This is the police. You run the sheriff's department. You're managing your cops. You're making decisions, and you try to keep yourself out of prison. It's a story-driven game with a mix of adventure, strategy, and turn-based combat. So it's definitely a cool concept. The graphics are kind of like cell shaded.
Yep, a little bit, yeah.
I think I haven't played the first one, so I want to play that one first. But I think I'm definitely interested in this series. Hopefully, they'll release like a double pack for a discounted price eventually in the future.
Check out on Keymailer this game. The first game and the second game, This is the Police, is you can request keys because we are YouTubers basically. But you can request keys from the developers, and they're gonna give it to you, man. If you review the game and live stream the game. They are pretty cool developers.
I'll have to look into that.
Yep, for sure. But you have to produce content, basically. Otherwise, it's not cool for them.
I produce content.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that much.
Oh yeah, I know that, man. And noting for Valkyria Chronicles 4 is released this week too. So
it was a free-to-play game, so. It wasn't, or maybe
No.
I'm wrong. That wasn't the free-to-play one.
You're totally wrong, man.
Hey,
Totally
I
wrong.
ask you before every podcast if you have anything to add to the list. You
Yeah,
go,
but
"No."
I like to go a little bit of freestyle, you know? Freestyle
yeah.
podcast. Like
Freestyle
putting you on
French
the spot,
rapper.
man.
Let's hear some hot fire.
So topic of the show for this week, what we think will be included in the PlayStation Classic, and just to be clear, this is not what we hope for, but what we think that will be included on the console. So it's really different. Otherwise, I will add like 15 JRPG in there. So we're gonna take turns. If Yemi say, for example, Tomb Raider, and I have Tomb Raider on my list too. We'll talk about Tomb Raider just one time. So only one game per series too. I forgot to tell you about that, but you probably didn't put like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, right?
No, I have one per series.
Okay, cool.
I thought ahead on this one.
Okay, cool. And so confirmed so far is Final Fantasy VII, Jumping Flash, weird choice right there, Ridge Racer Type 4, Tekken 3, and Wild Arms. So there's like 15 open spots. So let's dive right in. Yemi, you're the first.
So when I was making this list, I had to take into account that you can't use the analog stick. So there's a lot of 007 games that I used to play on the PlayStation 1
I
that
fucked
wouldn't
up already
work on
then.
this. Oh, no.
You cannot... Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
Well, my first game was Crash Bash, which was the party game that came out that was Crash centered to kind of mirror Mario Party. I know it's a 4-player game, but I think since it hasn't had any re-releases, it's a very strong contender for being in this game, specifically with more support maybe for two AI guys and you and a friend. So I'd like to see Crash Bash. I thought it was a fun little party game. Not as good as Mario Party, but...
Yeah, I remember this one. It was a pretty cool game. I agree with you. Not as good as Mario RPG, but it was the only game of that type on PlayStation, like multiplayer game. And it sold 1.9 million copies, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, pretty good.
I'm gonna follow with Crash Team Racing. I put that on my list. 2.2 million copies sold. No remaster announced, and nothing really announced for the Crash Team Racing series. So yep, that was on my list too. So I'm gonna throw it right in there with Crash Bash.
Yeah, I think Crash Team Racing would be a good addition. I think since it's out on the PlayStation 4, though, as just a regular version, it might not be in it, but I would like to see it. Yeah, I think it would be a good idea to put it in there. Of course, they don't listen to us, but
It's released on PlayStation 4 with trophies or not?
I don't know if it has trophies.
It's
but I know
PlayStation Classic?
Yeah, I think it's classic. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't care about that. I
Well,
only
next
care
up
about
for
trophies,
me
man.
is Blasto.
Oh, Blasto. Okay, you stole my turn right like that?
I thought you said Crash Team Racing was
No,
your,
it was part of the Crash Bash series.
Mm.
But Blasto, okay, Blasto.
You say your number one. I'll introduce Blasto again.
Okay. The next one for me was the most selling game on PlayStation with 10, almost 11 million copies sold worldwide, made by Polyphony Digital. It's, of course, Gran Turismo. I put the first one in the list because it's a classic and might not be like the best racing game from today's standard, but it's still a pretty cool classic and plays pretty well and aged pretty well. So Gran Turismo, man.
Yeah, I think it's since it is a Sony owned title, I think it's a shoo-in to get in there.
Yep, for sure. Do you have it
All
on
right.
your list here?
No, I do not.
Oh man. Okay.
I have a different racing game.
Okay.
But hey, number 2 for me is Blasto. Who saw that coming?
I don't have it on my list, so can go right ahead. I don't even remember this game.
Well, it's because I already introduced it. So,
Okay.
but anyways, Blasto was a fun third-person shooter. It was developed by Sony, so there's no like copyright or anything they need to bug around with. It was released in 1998. You play as a dim-witted captain. It was freaking hilarious. He's always in the mood for a space babe, specifically from the planet Uranus. So I thought it was a fun little run and gun kind of game. I really enjoyed it when I was younger.
Okay.
You probably never heard of it.
Blasto? I'm remember the name but not the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're done with Blasto?
Blasto is finito.
My next pick was Tomb Raider 2. Once again, 6.8 million copies sold worldwide. Well-known game. It's third party though, but Tomb Raider 2 I think should be included. There's a remastered on PS3 though, so I'm not sure about this one. There's probably a better version already available on another console, but that would be a pretty cool addition and one of the classic PlayStation game for sure.
I don't remember that one.
Tomb Raider?
I don't think I played Tomb Raider 2.
No, I choose 2 because I think it's the best in the series, honestly. But there's 1 and 3 was well sold too. So just a personal opinion right there, but they should probably put the first one, I guess. I'm not sure, man.
Well, you never know. They might choose the first one just because it's older and easier to port over. Maybe, who knows?
But old games like that, like the source code, sometimes is not available anymore. So might be actually harder to port some of those games. So I'm not sure, but yep.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
But hey, next one for me is we talked about this game last time, so don't really need to talk about too much. But Castlevania Symphony of the Night is one that I think is going to end up on there, and also a game that I really, really, really enjoyed. So I'm hoping that if that game's on there, it's probably going to be a buy from me.
All right, for sure. I thought about it, but I decided to put it aside because there's news that the PlayStation Classic has been ported to PlayStation 4 with trophy support. So I guess that it was not included on both sides, you know. But it's a great pick, though. Great pick. Next one for me is Dragon Quest VII, of course. One of the best JRPG on the console. 7 million copies sold. I will say all the sales. I will say the sales for your games if they are on my list, because I think it's a pretty good way to tell if the game or the series is well known and well sold worldwide. But Dragon Quest, one of the best JRPG, like I said, in my opinion, right besides Final Fantasy VII. So you need to put some JRPG in there because PlayStation 1 was a gold mine for JRPGs.
The next one for me is Dino Crisis 2, and I know we talked about this one last time, but I chose the second one because I think it's universally known as the better game, even though it's not exactly the same genre as the first game. I felt like Dino Crisis 2 played better, ran better, had a better story. So I would like to see that one on there, and I think it's more in the running to get on there because it was, it's known as being the better one.
Yep. I have Dino Crisis 2 on my list too. So great pick.
Well,
Thanks. The next one for me is the classic Rayman, made by Ubisoft in '95. 4 million copies sold. Old school platformer, really hard platformer too. And then Rayman is not dead too, so it's a well-known name, and I think it will sold the console pretty well if it was included in the 20 games, classic games in there. So Rayman,
definitely. Yeah,
you have that?
I do not, but
Okay.
I agree with that choice.
Great, thanks.
The next one for me is Frogger, and this is the 3D version of Frogger. I had a lot of fun with this one when I was a kid, playing on the computer, but it was also on the PlayStation. I actually own it on the PlayStation 1. I love this game. It was a new take on Frogger, even though it had the first level was the classic level, but then you got into so much harder levels as you progressed on. Each level was split into like 4 or 5 or maybe more different difficulties, and it was great. I love this game. I couldn't put it down when I was a kid. I really enjoyed it, and I could definitely see it coming to the PlayStation Classic because it has co-op. You can co-op with people.
Yep. Great pick. I thought about Frogger too. Didn't make the cut, but it was up on my list too.
Made the cut for me.
It made the cut. All right.
Yeah, it made it for me.
The next one for me is Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. By the way, I forgot to mention, but we don't know each other. It's probably apparent now, but we don't know each other's list. So that makes it fun for us to do. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, once again a classic, well sold, 3.5 million. Pretty awesome game. Once again, it has been ported to PS3 if I remember correctly, and there's even like a remake or something like that on PS4 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was free.
It's free? Oh, see?
On PlayStation Plus, it was free when it came out.
So maybe it will not be included then, but that would be a pretty cool addition to the list.
I think there's a lot of people who would like to play the original versions, Like, even though the remastered versions are great and they look nice, I think a lot of people like the old aesthetic of older video games,
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Next one for me is Alfred Chicken. If you've
I
heard of
knew
this
you
game.
had like weird games like that. I knew it, man.
I was a weird kid, so I remember this game very fondly. I don't know how it holds up now. I don't have it anymore, but I remember having a lot of fun with this one, and I could see them putting this one on there because it is it's like a 2D platformer where you play as a chicken who has a nice hairdo, and that's pretty much all I remember of it. But I remember having a lot of fun with it.
Do you have Croc too?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I knew it, man. I'm beginning to know you,
I'm a 3D platformer, 2D platformer kind of guy.
Yeah, totally. Next one for me is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I decided to put that in there because it's a classic on PlayStation for sure. There might be an issue with the music though. I'm not sure about this one. Not sure if it will be included or not, but I think it will make a great fit for a PlayStation Classic console.
They gotta have at least one Tony Hawk on there because that's the birthplace and where it exploded.
Yeah, for sure. Might be expensive to put Tony Hawk's Pro Skater in there too.
Just any pixelized face will do. I don't care. I'll play as Bam Margera. Damn.
Yeah, and Tony Hawk's and the music and all the skaters too. Man, it will be expensive.
Yeah, they got the money. It's Sony.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're not looking to spend a lot of money. I guarantee it.
Maybe that's why it's $100 though. Maybe it's because of Tony Hawk's,
Yeah, maybe. The next one for me is Army Men, Sarge's Heroes.
Great pick.
The Army Man series died out after this era of video games. I remember seeing like 1 or 2 games on the PlayStation 2, and then it just died. But Sarge's Heroes was one of those games that I really enjoyed when I was a kid. I went around shooting Army Men. I used to play with army men, and here I am playing a video game about army men. I think it'd be a good fit for this because it utilized the D-pad very effectively, and it was easy to play. I think it'd be a good fit for this game or console.
Yep, for game, for sure. See, I say game to you. You fucked me up, man.
It happens.
Next one for me is Driver. I put Driver 1 because Driver 2 is total trash. The first one was the only good game in the Driver series. Quite the classic. Well sold once again. 3.2 million copies. Made by JT Interactive. Pretty cool game. Probably didn't hold really well, but it was cool when it was released. So, yep, Driver.
You didn't like Driver San Francisco or whatever it's called?
Never played it. It's on PS3, right?
Yeah. It's a cool game. You like switch between, instead of like being a character, you switch between cars on the fly. I don't know. Maybe you won't like it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I didn't play a lot of it. But number 8 on my list was already spoiled. But it's Croc, Legend of the Gobos.
I knew it.
I mean, I love 3D platformer games, and this is like end of PS1 era, early N64 and PlayStation 2 era was full of just hits. And I'll be damned if I don't see one of these games I'm saying on here because Croc was an amazing game. It felt a lot like Ukulele, but it was different enough that it was its own unique game.
Yep, Croc is a total legit choice. Well known and well sold too. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is why I mentioned Croc, because it's not like out of the realm of possibilities to have it on the console. So
yeah.
Next one for me is the original Hotshot Golf. A golf game in there. I'm a huge fan. I played that series in a lot to death. So it would be pretty cool to play it again. I'm pretty stoked about playing Hotshot Golf again. So I put it in there, and it's well known once again. Now it's known as Everybody's Golf, I think. Mm-hmm. So yep.
Yeah, I had that on my list too.
Hotshot Golf, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool.
The next one for me was Earthworm Jim 2.
Cool.
Just a fun 2D platform. You shoot dudes and you go around. I love these kind of games. Like I can never get bored with them. And a lot of the newer games don't have that same feel to them. They feel like there's too much going on. Like Earthworm Jim was like one of my favorite 2D platformers because it was just so simplistic in its design, but also so challenging.
Yep, exactly, and it's a fucking hard game, man. It's on my list of games to play in my hardcore retro game series on the Super Nintendo. So yep, I know about this game. I'm dying to play this again, and it's sad that this series is dead. I think there's a place for games like this.
Definitely.
Next up for me is, of course, Silent Hill. I'm not sure if you have it on your list too.
I do not.
Surprising to me, it was only sold 2 million copies, which is surprising, but it's Konami, so I'm not sure if the relation between Konami and PlayStation is good because of Hideo Kojima. So I'm not sure if it will make the cut on the PlayStation Classic, but I would love to play this game again, especially with all the enhancement of the PlayStation Classic console. Mm-hmm. So yep, Silent Hill.
Good pick.
Good pick.
Next up for me is Gex, the original Gex.
Of course.
I mean, it's just more amazing, classic fun. There's not much more I can say about it. I loved Gex. I felt like Gex and Crash were like in the running for being the face of PlayStation, and Crash won, so Gex kind of got lost.
Gex was huge back in the days.
But yeah, I love this game. It's freaking amazing.
Yep, it's a good pick once again. I'm not surprised that you pick up Gex and Croc. I'm not surprised. Next one for me is Parasite Eve. I talked about this game on the last podcast. Yep, amazing game, and I think like I watched some videos just to refresh my memories of this game, and I think the concept of turn-based RPG, story elements, and action-based, like weird concept and weird gameplay would still hold up pretty well to this day. The story was amazing for its time. The graphics and the cutscenes were amazing too. Pretty cool and short game too. So I would love to see this. I won't probably see this on the PlayStation Classic, but it's still a well-known game and name and series among the PlayStation fans. So
Yeah, definitely. My next one, the next two are from Midway, the developers Midway.
okay.
And the first one I have here is Gauntlet Legends. This was a game that it was technically 4-player co-op, but PlayStation Classic, it only had 2 ports. So I think this would be a cool game to kind of have on there for the people who like Gauntlet 1, and also for people who like good co-op games. Gauntlet Legends is like where it's at.
Good pick. Once again, I remember playing this game with my friends. Awesome game, pretty challenging too. I love the Gauntlet series. Once again, Dead series. Once again, we talked about this last episode, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Next one for me, another Dead series, Siphon Filter. I put the first one in there just because the story wouldn't make sense if they put Siphon Filter 2 right away. Siphon Filter was a product of its time. I'm not sure if it holds up well today, but playing it just for the memories and just to see how games were back then would be pretty cool, I say.
So like I said, the next one that I have, the Midway Classic, is Hydro Thunder.
Okay.
I feel like this has a really strong chance of getting onto the Classic because who doesn't like Hydro Thunder? Like, when I think of the PlayStation 1, I think of Hydro Thunder. It was one of the first games I had on it. Freaking fantastic.
Yep.
And also the arcade game was amazing too.
Yep, for sure. I remember this game once again. I used to play pretty much all the games on PlayStation 1. I had my PlayStation cracked back in the days and was copying games over and over again and pretty much played all the library this way. And after that, when I grew older, I just bought the game used and built a huge collection of PlayStation 1 games. So I played a lot of PlayStation 1 games. Twisted Metal 2 for me is the next stop. Yep. 1 was rough, I feel like. 2 made a lot of improvement. So, my pick. Everybody who knows Twisted Metal, you have a car and you trash everything in an arena. The one on PlayStation 3 was cool, if I remember correctly, but the online was broken, I think, or something like that.
Very broken.
So I didn't play a lot of this. The concept was cool, but the game was a little bit broken, so I stopped playing. But Twisted Metal 2 is my next stop.
The next one for me is the last 3D platformer that I could think of, and that is Jersey Devil.
Oh yeah, the little devil with the horns and I remember this.
It's such a fun game. I mean, if I don't see one of these goddamn games on here, I'm gonna be very sad. But Jersey Devil was like, it was a little bit different than like your Croc or something like that. It was a little bit more dark, but it was definitely just an amazing freaking game. Lots of puzzle elements, lots of 3D platforming. Amazing. Bellissimo.
All right. So the next, the last one for me is Chrono Cross. It's a personal choice. I'm not expecting the game to be on the PlayStation Classic, but Chrono Cross, I talked about this once again in the last podcast. Amazing game. Not well known to, but I would love to play this game once again on the PlayStation Classic. You have one remaining?
One more for me. I saved the best for last.
All right.
And that's Pepsi Man.
No, you didn't.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Vigilante 8.
Yeah, I remember this. Amazing game,
my
man.
freaking childhood. It was my first T-rated game, too. A little bit of yummy history for you. But Vigilante 8, you literally use cars, and you just shoot each other and blow each other up with pickups on the ground. I loved every single car in this game, every single character in this game.
A little bit like Twisted Metal, right?
A little bit. I think it was a little bit more violent, though. I think this game had a little bit more in terms of, like, goofy power-ups and stuff like that. Like, you had a guy who freaking launched bees at people. Yeah. And I'm not talking about the Jerry Seinfeld ones. I'm talking about Killer Bees.
Yeah. I remember
Um,
this, man.
but I love Vigilante 8, and the second one's pretty good. But I could see Vigilante 8, the original, coming onto the classic.
Yep.
Freaking amazing. Love it.
The problem is that you cannot have Twisted Metal and Vigil. Say that once again.
Vigilante.
Yep, you cannot have that one in there at the same time, right? I
Yeah, I
think.
think Twisted Metal has a better chance of getting on there because it
Yep.
was a console exclusive. But I mean,
And the name
Vigilante
is
8,
well
though.
known too.
Yeah, I
But
was a
great
pro at
pick,
the
man.
endless mode. I could get really high up there on the endless mode with the guy who was a limousine. He had the I forget what his name is, but he had the afro and he was a limousine and he would just do the little the boom box.
Yep. So do you have any leftover?
No, the only one that I had that, and you already said it, was Hot Shot Golf, but
Okay.
no.
Okay. So I have some games that could. In fact, I have Resident Evil like 1 and 2, but there's already better version available, so I didn't pick that. Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, we talked about it. Won't be included in there because there's always amazing remastered, but it should totally, like, if there's no remastered, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro is in there for sure. Metal Gear Solid, the first one, already have better versions. Final Fantasy Tactics could be a safe bet, but there's already a Final Fantasy game. It's quite different though, but I didn't include it because of that. And the next two series that I decided not to include was Cool Borders, the snowboard game, and Jet Moto.
Yeah.
So two games that I played a lot and exclusive to PlayStation. So yep, that's pretty much it, man. Cool. That was pretty cool, man. Really enjoyed this one. That was amazing,
all
man.
the 3D platforms that I know.
Yeah. Next segment is a trophies segment.
Yeah. All right.
The first game is Life is Strange 2. Once again, pretty much the same list as Life is Strange 2 1. Finish the episode, find all collectibles in an episode. You can probably replay the episode. And the first one had a cool concept where you could not replay the whole chapter, like the whole episode, but only parts of it. So it was easier to, I think it was called like the collectible mode or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's called, I think.
So that was a pretty cool addition. Not sure if that's included in the game though.
I think they'd keep that.
Yeah, that was a cool idea.
Yeah, like you said, basic list. Instead of taking pictures, it looks like you're picking up things. So I think it's a little bit, because like Life is Strange 1 you could take the picture, right, which was fine. I like that. In Life is Strange Before the Storm, you were like drawing different graffiti on things, and I like the choice of drawing either of the graffiti and getting the same trophy for both of them. I thought that was, I like the choice, but it looks like we're back to one thing for this game.
Should I play Before the Storm before playing Life is Strange 2?
I don't think you have to, because Before the Storm was a prequel to Life is Strange 1.
Okay. So it gives a little context to the story, I guess.
It just fleshes out Chloe a little bit more. I only got through episode 3, and then I kind of got bored of it.
Okay, it got mixed reviews, and this is why I was asking you. I haven't played it, so the Captain Awesome thing game, too, I'm pretty excited about this. I need to buy it. Captain Awesome?
Yeah, I saw. I was actually watching Siphonator play it. It looked kind of cool.
Yep. Yeah, Sai is working on story games. He was streaming Walking Dead the final season earlier today. All right. Enough of YouTubes. Enough of friends YouTubers. Hollow Knight is the next step. It seems quite hard, honestly. One of the hardest trophies would be probably to achieve 112% game completion. What a weird number, man.
I love the trophy icons. They look freaking amazing.
Yeah, man. It's like super flashy and like neon a little bit. This is really cool, man. I agree with you. I
definitely can't wait to play this.
Yep. It's high on my list, actually. I like watching trophy icon, and sometimes like on PSN profiles when you have them in order, like the image complete themselves, if that makes sense, like at top of each other, and there's like a big drawing a little bit. I think Catherine had something like that. I'm not sure if I'm making sense right now, but like a big image, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yep.
not sure if this game's like that, but
No,
it'd be
not
cool.
that game, but
Oh,
I'm speaking another game probably. There's a weird image too, like Passing of the Age is like an ugly guy. If you scroll down a little bit,
oh.
what is going on with that image, man? This is weird. But the game seems pretty challenging.
Yes.
This
Out
is
of
out of
place.
context,
Yeah.
right? It seems like an error or something like that.
But looks like there's a few end game things you have to set up too, like collecting all the essence to get the final words of the seer person. That might be a little challenging.
Might be a little bit of missable in there. Maybe
Yeah.
not. Like a
Record
point
all
of no
colorless
return, or
creatures. Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a challenge to get this platinum.
yeah, for sure. Then the last one is Time Spinner. We talked about this highly on the last podcast and on this podcast. I'm pretty excited about this one. The most difficult thing would be probably to discover 100% of the map. And those types of trophies, I have like flashbacks of the YS series. I know you haven't played that, but you had to like walk at the edges of each areas to complete all the maps, and it was really finicky too. So yep, I hope it's not like that. I hope when you enter a room, it's just discover itself like automatically. But
Oh yeah, hopefully it's kind of like Borderlands, where you go to the area and the whole map part area just is exposed to you.
yeah, and
But
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I
I
don't
hope
think
so.
you're gonna be. I don't think you're gonna be lucky on this one. I think since it's a 2D side scroller, I think you might have to literally
walk.
go to each area. Yep.
Yep, and there's a nightmare mode too, which is worth noting. Nobody has the platinum yet. So yep, pretty cool game. Are you ready for the question from the fans, the listeners?
I am ready.
All right. So first pick. So I'm gonna give three choices to Yemi, and he's gonna pick one. So the first one is the best PS4 game. Next one is Season Pass, which I feel like we talked a lot about. So let's skip this one. Next Generation. And Sony taking risk.
Well, let's just talk a little bit about the best PS4 game.
Okay, go right ahead, man. I'm gonna think.
This question is from Coco Gamer, and he just asked, "What do you guys think is the best PS4 game?" I know we kind of already went over this one of the first episodes we did, but I still think from the bottom of my ferret heart that Bloodborne is still reigns supreme on the PlayStation. There are games that are getting close to the best, like Spider-Man's been pretty good. God of War, of course, has been excellent, and there's games in the future that haven't come out yet. But I still think that Bloodborne is the game you need to have on the PlayStation if you're a fan of Souls-like games, and if you're just a fan of PlayStation in general. It's an amazing game.
Yeah, I need to play this game, man. You actually need to guide me. I think, since you completed the game like 1,000 times already. Actually, we need to like reach the point where we can play multiplayer together. I feel like that might be best, right?
I know where you can get the insight, which is what you need to call people in. I know the easiest place to get to it, so I could probably talk you through it.
So you can probably talk to me in the chat, guide me to that point of like getting that item, and after that we're just gonna live stream together and talk with on Discord, right?
Yeah.
And you can
fools.
thank me through to the platinum too. Are you
I could
comfortable
try.
with that?
It's a little involved.
Yeah?
But I could try.
All right. So for me, I'm cheating a little bit. I'm checking my trophies right now. There's a couple of games that stick out to me, like Spider-Man, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and like even Horizon or God of War would be pretty high on my list. But the fact that I haven't completed any of them yet, I won't put them at my best PS4. I think it's not fair. So I'm gonna put Uncharted 4 as my best PS4 game. I think they ended the series perfectly with the ending of the game, and it's not an easy thing to do to end a series like that. We see a lot of TV series are struggling to cut and to finish the series correctly, and I feel like that was an emotional moment. No spoilers, don't worry, but emotional moments and quite surprising too, and perfect ending for the Uncharted series. So yep, Uncharted 4 for me, man.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was an excellent ending to the series, and I do recommend you can turn motion blur off now. And I think the game looks a lot better without the motion blur, but I didn't really mind it while I was playing through it myself. It wasn't that distracting in Uncharted.
I notice it.
It is noticeable.
I called my friend and I was like, "Does your game is like blurry to you when you move?" And he was like, "No, it's totally okay." But I haven't noticed, but I noticed, and I fucked up my eyes a little bit, man.
Yeah, that's why when they put that in, I right away turned it off because it can get very distracting, especially when on that part where you're hanging from the trucks. It can get very disorienting. But it's a great game. It flows very nicely. I don't think there was one point in that game where I was like, ugh, come on, hurry this up. Plus, it's all about, it has pirate lore in there. And if you know me, that's number 2 on my list of favorite things about history. So,
all right, that's cool. And shout out to a launch title too, Resogun. Played a freaking lot of that game when it came out, and I still play from time to time to finish the DLC and stuff like that. Well supported, arcade game at its best, and super cool co-op too. So shout out to Resogun, man. Probably one of the game I play the most.
It was like one of the first PlayStation Plus games too.
Yeah, it was released free, basically.
Yeah.
At the same time of the console and PlayStation Plus, they gave out the game for free. Everybody played it. Everybody loved it. So, yep.
It's definitely worth getting nowadays, even now, you know.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Stuff like that, amazing.
Yep. And graphics are beautiful. All the effects and stuff like that hold up pretty well. So I took next segment is PlayStation Memory. We talk about not old school PlayStation, but a PlayStation from the past. So PlayStation 3, PSP, PS2, PS1, even PS Vita. So this week I took the liberty to choose a game. Basically, we agree on a game, but now for this week I choose Indigo Prophecy, which is a Quantic Dream first game. I'm not sure if it's his first game, but first well-known game. And the same vein as Heavy Rain, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls.
Exactly, and even Detroit now. So story-based, you move around a little bit like Heavy Rain. It was weird, a little bit weirder. It was quite violent for its time. The plot was really cool, and it was remade to remastered, I must say, to PlayStation 4, I think. So you can totally check it out. I think it aged pretty well, and the story is still pretty good. Got pretty good reviews when it came out. It was not well known though. Not a lot of copies sold, but pretty cool game. Even to this day, you can totally get in it and enjoy the story.
It's got a sex scene in there too. So.
Oh really? Not just like Heavy Rain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I didn't.
I don't think there's any QuickTime events for it, but it's not like God of War. But you know,
you're talking about the hotel scene from Heavy Rain, or the shower scene.
Indigo Prophecy.
Yeah, but the sex scene, right?
Yeah.
Where did you read that?
Where did I read it? Where did I play it?
Oh, you played it?
Yeah.
You remember it, right?
You think I'm an uncultured swine?
And worth noting that the PC version is quite bad. So if you want to play it on PlayStation 2, my friends.
You can play it on the 4 now too.
Yep.
It has that remaster, which is how I played it, which it works. You know, it's not like it doesn't.
Have you played the original version?
I haven't played the original, but I played the remaster.
Okay, I got you, man. So that's pretty much it for episode 7 of CronoCast. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again, Coco, for your question. Pretty cool conversation, actually. Don't forget that you can be part of the show just like Coco by asking a question on the Discord server, on Twitter, on Facebook, pretty much everywhere. People can find. Where can people find you, Yemi?
You can find me on YouTube, Twitter at Yummy the Ferret, and SoundCloud.
Once again, thank you so much for all the feedback, the love, and the support, especially in the last episodes. The show doesn't get a lot of views, but the views that are there are like either full views or the fans are in the comment section. They are trying to improve the show too, and I would like to thank Yemi for taking the time each and every week to build it's a pretty big roadmap when you check the roadmap of the podcast. So thank you for taking the time to actually discuss the podcast with me and adding news, adding trophies, putting IDs in there too. Like the topic of the show is Yemi's ID this week. So thank you so much, dude. I really enjoy doing that, and I really enjoy doing that with you.
Not a problem. It's been an honor to do this with you. It's been really fun.
All right. I'm glad that you enjoying it, man. So this is pretty much it. So I'll talk to you in the next one. See you later, guys.